Hey, what is up, YouTube? Boxing family. It is K right here. I have a good college basketball update for you guys today. First of all, I just want to say congratulations to North Carolina defeating Duke men's basketball team. That was one of the best games I have ever seen in years. Even though that I am 26 years old saying that, and I will be 27 by April 30th. And thank you, world, for giving me the opportunity to see life once again. But then again, tomorrow is not promised. So I say the things that I say as if it was my last day on planet Earth. First of all, I just want to say congratulations to Duke. We tried our best. Duke Nation and Villanova unfortunately lost their games today, which was very, very surprising. Kansas, they just blew out Villanova, but for North Carolina, they just had like this weird push to actually beat Duke by a slim margin. I think it was only like by like 4 points or 5 points, but either way, that was a good game. I give nothing but pure respect to North Carolina. That's a team that's been hungry from the beginning of the tournament, and they have done everything in their power to show to the ACC why nobody can't mess with us. And I say, honestly, Duke is probably one of the most battle tested teams out of the entire ACC that has Carolina's number in certain games, and then in certain years, Carolina, they just beat Duke. But when it comes to that March Madness, this was the most historical game in college basketball history that determined who was the king of the ACC. And North Carolina has proven that they are the kings of the ACC for now until Duke or any other ACC team can make that same return to come back and dominate the whole tournament once again. This is the very first Final Four. For those of you that did not know, North Carolina and Duke have never seen each other in a Final Four. I say again, North Carolina and Duke have never seen each other in a Final Four. And the prediction that I had of this game being predicted in my mind was that I thought Duke was going to beat North Carolina, but it was not going to be easy simply of the fact that North Carolina, they're very good at perimeter style defense, but they're not that good when they are transitioning away from the perimeter when the ball is being swung more. And that's the biggest flaw that North Carolina has, and that's the same thing that Duke has. Because Duke, they have great inside perimeter defense, but when it comes to an outside situation, they don't force their bigs to play more aggressive on the inside, and they need to have their guards defend the wings so that way there's no openings for any shooting guards or small forwards to make any shots. And the biggest problem in this game was that North Carolina, they were fucking up a lot. They were making a lot of stupid mistakes with the ball. They were turning the ball over, and Duke, they didn't capitalize on it. We had all the advantages to draw more fouls, get guys fouled out, in which, Duke did a very great job, but surprisingly Carolina just came out on top because they had such a lucky advantage with certain three-pointers made. And then on top of that, Mark Williams, I don't know like why the hell he's on the team, but the free throws that he missed really costed, the entire game. Basically, there's just so many factors to it. And at the end of the day, like I personally don't give a shit because it's like, even though that this is like the most historical college basketball game ever that I've seen in my years of watching college basketball, Duke and Carolina have proven to the world and have proven to the entire United States for basketball as a whole in the American bloodline that these two teams will never see each other again in a Final Four. Unless they have it set up like that. Unless Duke and Carolina see each other in a Sweet 16 or possibly an Elite 8, but for this Final Four, this was one of the best Final Fours out of literally out of the entire generation. and literally the most historic Final Four ever, because these are the two of the best teams in the entire ACC that made it this far to the national, to literally the national Final Four. And credit to Carolina beating Duke, but if Duke had won, I'd be coming out here celebrating and being super duper happy. But knowing that March is usually the month of upsets, I mean, as far as the betting odds go, a lot of people probably thought Duke was going to win. Because now that I think about it, the odds were probably stacked against NC because they were coming in as a mega underdog. And now this was probably a match to be like 55-45 Duke's way, because Carolina, they didn't really have too much advantages coming into the game, and Duke had a lot more leverage coming into the game with their players like Paolo, Branchero, and all those other guys. Like, I mean, Archie Moore did an amazing fucking job. Credit to him, man. He's definitely gonna be NBA material. I think the same thing for Paolo Branchero, and definitely other guys on the team. Um, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, Duke's men's roster is usually a hit or miss if they're going to make it to the NBA. But 9 times out of 10, when you have such a good high stock out of Duke, usually Duke players have a good ceiling making it to the league. And even if they win the entire tournament, or they don't, or they get knocked off early, or get knocked off mid or late into the tournament brackets, then that's where the player's stock is at a high level or a low level. But either way, it doesn't really matter, because if you're good, you're good, and the NBA is going to pick you up, and you're going to be making a crap load of money. But back to this game. This was a very difficult, tight game, and North Carolina barely hung on. Baycott, he was dominating on the boards. Caleb Love was just doing his thing, and he was scoring. Man, like, Carolina is just something else, man. Like, Carolina is not to be played with. And credit to Kansas dominating Villanova, but both of those games could have went either way. And that's why that people call it March Madness, because you don't know, basically, you don't know what the outcome is going to be, and everything is like basically peer pressure coming into every single fucking game. You don't know what the hell's gonna happen, and the minute you predict something could be the very complete opposite of something that's gonna go against you, and you're basically screwed for the rest of the game. So, I mean, honestly, Duke's ceiling has really increased, because that's not a absolute upset, honestly. I wouldn't really call it a upset. That was a hard fought game, because if Duke was like up by like 20 points, and let's just say by like the second half they were like up by like 15 or 16, and like Carolina just came right back and just dominated them, then I would say that's a major upset. But this game did not deserve a upset label. This game definitely deserved, like, the best basketball game of the year award type of credibility. And I probably say the best basketball game ever in college basketball history. These are two teams that primarily don't like each other, and Duke and Carolina has always had such a bad blood rivalry, and it's not like people really sadistically hate each other. But when it comes to the realm of basketball, Duke and Carolina fans don't really like each other. Honestly, that's only meant in a good way, because Duke and Carolina fans are very, very close to one another, and Me personally, knowing that I'm from New York, I still, rep for U Albany and Siena College because, those are decent D1 basketball schools, but it's always been Duke Nation, in my bloodline. Some people out of my family are, diehard North Carolina fans, and other relatives in my family are diehard Duke fans. So I've just been naturally connected to Duke, just mainly because Duke has been that team to always make it far in college basketball tournaments. But whenever we do lose or we do get upset by teams that we should have never lost to, we usually come back a lot stronger within the following years, and we get really, really good players to the point where those those newly recruited players usually end up winning us a title. So even if we lose, the March Madness tournament, that actually benefits us into the following years. And ever since I probably say like 2015, if I'm not mistaken, that was like the last time Duke has really ever won a title. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. Because I don't think Duke has ever won a title ever since 2015, if I'm not mistaken. Because that was won by, I think, like what, Jaleel Okafor and all those guys back in the day, Tyus Jones and them. That's when Duke beat Wisconsin, for the championship. But yeah, I mean, ever since then, Duke has been doing such a phenomenal job, just winning back-to-back games against difficult teams, and we've done a really, really good job just making sure that that our talent just keeps getting better. And credit to Carolina, because Carolina has definitely just came back out of the blue, and they've been winning chips. The last time they've ever won a title, if I'm not mistaken, that was like years ago. Like I think like 4 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, that was back in like 2017 or 2018. But Carolina did a phenomenal job this entire tournament. They upset a Baylor, which Baylor was projected to win the entire tournament, and Baylor was like literally like up by like 10 or what 11 points, and Carolina just came out of nowhere and just dominated them. And I just give them nothing but credibility because North Carolina, like to me, I view North Carolina like U Albany College, because it's like compared to those schools and those programs. Obviously UNC has better recruiting and better talent that gets us that gets them selected out there. But when you scale their level of competition that they're matched up with and the level of skill set that their players go through, UNC is very similar in the in that regard with U Albany, because the ACC is so deep, and I believe U Albany, they're part of the I'm not so sure what conference that they're a part of. I think they're part of the MAC conference, if I'm not mistaken, or the American Conference, or the Big East. I'm not too sure, but I have to look at that. But basically, that's what UNC is. UNC is a very, very good school. Same thing with UAlbany, but the difference is that their skill set and level of competition just scales a lot higher than UNC or than UAlbany. I'm sorry, and UNC just tends to have the better talent to get recruited out there. So for UAlbany is just more primarily structured on most of their talent coming out of the local New York area, or from other states, or possibly other schools where people transfer out there, and then UAlbany can have a possible chance to compete to the level of possibly beating bigger schools like Syracuse, or schools like Louisville or or Princeton or Purdue or whatever schools that you could think of. But that's pretty much how the state of college basketball is, where based off of the attendance and the population, the population of that school being bigger, that's where more money is being invested to the teams for sports out there, for the talent to be a lot bigger in skill set. So I mean, don't get it twisted. I mean, U Albany can have their years where you may think like, oh well, they're not doing so good now in the regular season, but once it comes March Madness, they just actually come around and actually do very very well. They could chip into the tournament and they could very well, upset a lot of people, in a given year, and they could very well make it to the final four or final four, or possibly, win it all for the championship. So I don't know. Maybe that reality can come one day, but obviously, the level of competition just keeps getting better. So who knows? That's going to be very, very interesting to see. But my final thoughts on Duke versus Carolina. This is one of the best Final Fours that I've seen in a while, and this will reset the college basketball timeline just for the next generation to come up and see the amount of greatness that was put into this game. And I really hope Duke can make a comeback, and we can win more titles. For Duke, Duke history, and also thank you to Coach K for giving us 42 good years of pure college basketball legendary greatness, and a salute to his hardworking efforts of what he has done for not only just college basketball, but for American basketball, as he used to be a former Olympic coach for the U.S. men's basketball team, I believe for London, and I believe Rio de Janeiro, and definitely for the Tokyo 2021 Olympics, that's for sure. And I think Roy Williams was also a part of him, beside him, with all the other NBA style players like Kevin Durant and the rest of the American crew, like Jason Tatum, Zach LaVine, and all those guys. So I definitely have to give him a lot of respect for leading America to multiple gold medals, and that's something that Coach K will forever, he will forever be remembered for that. And I wish him nothing but the best for what he does after basketball. But I hope Duke's newest coach can come in and turn Duke into a powerhouse team, and we could just basically steamroll and take everybody down. Because unfortunately, knowing that Coach K is gone, we really don't know how the level of coaching will be for next year. But I think Duke will be in a really really good spot, and I give them nothing but credibility because that's what Duke is known for. We're known to be that team where everyone thinks like, oh well, screw Duke because they always have like all the greatest players, but you don't know how good we're gonna be when the chemistry gets together. And 9 times out of 10, our chemistry is pretty good. Some other years our chemistry is really bad, just due to some players that just don't want to be committed to the team and not actually focus on the game and actually try to study the game better. But for the most part, our chemistry is actually very good, and it's been like that for quite the majority of our existence as a college basketball team. So I definitely have to give Coach K all of his credit. He has led Duke to so many memorable victories, especially over wins like Wisconsin, Michigan State, just all the big top schools that we've seen Coach K be in for Duke basketball. That that's something that I'm not that I'm never going to forget. even when I do pass away, that's going to be something that's ingrained in my memory. And if there is, such a thing called the afterlife, I will forever keep that in my mindset, after death. So, that's just something that I just wanted to say. Much love and respect to, all the hardworking players out of Duke. You guys did a great, fantastic job, and whoever makes it to the NBA, respect you. I hope you do bigger and better things if you ever get a chance to be drafted in the league. And yeah, I just can't wait for bigger and greater things for Duke basketball, man. But credit to Carolina, man. Honestly, I purely hate Carolina, but just out of respectable, mature, mature accreditation to them. I hope that they make it, that they become victorious in the championship final against Kansas, because if Carolina beats Kansas, then they will be considered, the baddest team on the planet. To be that team, to be the mega underdog out of the, yeah, like literally out of the entire tournament, because North Carolina literally had like the toughest teams put in front of them, and they just took them down like one by one. But for them to actually make it this far, that just speaks so much volume for how much talent that North Carolina has produced over the years, and how much vulnerability that they still have with Duke, to show like that no matter how much pressure that you put on them, or you put on Duke, those two teams will be remembered as the upper echelon schools in the college basketball universe. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give my final goodbyes to Coach K. I wish him nothing but the best, and I hope he has a good life after basketball is over, and I hope he, just lives his life to the very end, and you will be forever missed. So thank you very much, Coach K, aka Mike Krzyzewski, and yeah, long live Duke, bro. Long live the Blue Devils and Duke Nation till the day I die, and forever. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys later. Peace.